Alright, so Spirit Fire and Stone Blast have been buffed. They are these skills that split into 10 projectiles when you're attacking a target, and they used to only hit around 3 to 5 times depending on the size of the target, and now they're just hitting this full 10 times, and you can see the aggregate burn there, 100 as well. So just with those 10 projectiles hitting, it does have a pretty good chance of inflicting that burn compared to something that just hits the ones, but the power is split into 10 parts, so still just this 45 power, but only a 7-second cooldown time. And then you have like Ignis Blast, 2-second cooldown, 30 power. But what's going to happen is that the pal is going to use skill 1, 2, 3, and then go back to 1, 2, 3. So if going like below 7 in the cooldown doesn't really matter, it just means that Spirit Fire is hitting for about 50% more than Ignis Blast, making something like Foxparks, it does learn this Ignis Blast, Bog Blast, Spirit Fire already at level 15. You get this combo going, just being an incredibly strong combo at this stage of the game. Something like Eikthyr there as well also learns Stone Blast at level 15, so you can get something like Ankler Uppercut, Power Shot and Stone Blast going. Not a perfect example because the one I captured to really test this on just happened to have Serenity, but we're just gonna see sort of how it plays together with this sort of Antler Uppercut and Stone Blast loop. So we're gonna jump straight into So's Tower. So before, what would happen is that those projectiles would only hit 3 times instead of that full 10, so losing quite a lot of damage. And what happens with this kind of loop is that Foxpark never uses the filler attack, so it just never has that sort of walking around for 4 seconds doing nothing. It's just constantly attacking. One downside, as you can see here, the minimum range on the skill isn't great, so it keeps on jumping backwards sometimes. It can get stuck in like a corner or something like that, but then you just withdraw and send out again, and it just keeps on going. So Foxpark right now is looking like probably one of the better pals at this like level 15. Great chance to inflict fire, just a good loop, just constantly attacking like this, and having these 3 pretty decent attacks for this stage of the game is pretty nice. We're gonna look at Eikthyr there as well. Also just spikes here at level 15, so you can see that Stone Blast, it can still sort of spread the projectiles to not hit perfectly, but Eikthyr there with this uppercut spamming tends to stand quite close to the target and will get these full 10 hits. Pretty nice combo here as well. So that's really it for like showcasing the skills itself. What this implies for these skills is that they used to be bottom of the barrel, like the absolute worst, along with like Volcanic Rain and stuff like that. So Volcanic Rain and Lightning Rain, they like get used on your pal's location. So most of the time the target is pretty far away, they will barely hit at all. So they don't really count. Same thing with All Range Thunder really. They just have trouble hitting the target. We're gonna look at sort of what happened with the DPS now. So the DPS for these skills now, Spirit Fire and Stone Blast, they've jumped up all the way from 85th and 86th place to just a flat out 32 and 40 in terms of just pure DPS. If you disregard everything in terms of like animation times and what 3 skills you're using and stuff like that. So when you go into the end game, you start using these like laser skills and that, they can fall off a little bit. But in just this sort of early game phase, when you do have this like level 15 combo, they are extremely strong. And it's worth pointing out that swapping in something like, let's say you swap Ignis Blast for Flare Arrow, what can end up happening is that this 10 cooldown time, the pal will use skill 1, 2, 3, this skill won't be ready, and then the pal will use its filler attack, that like basic Ignis Blast or whatever, and then just stands around for 4 seconds, which is like if the loop with this is around 7 seconds, and then you add this, the loop becomes like 12 seconds or whatever, you're dealing like half the DPS, because the filler skill just isn't very good on its own either. So just keeping this sort of loop can actually be quite a good sort of DPS until you have 3 better skills to throw in there. Like you throw in like Flame Funnel, Lightning Streak and Santa Airblade, then you're going to be dealing more DPS. But just putting in like Flare Arrow, we can actually just jump in and try that right now and see what the loop looks like. So let's see, that's Flare Arrow, 3 attacks there. And then the split, Bog Blast, and then, wait, which attack was that? Let's put you a little bit, okay, there's Walking, yeah, so that's the Forcing of Amnesia. So it uses 4 attacks, or this uses the basic attack, and that's the basic attack, and then just walking around for 4 seconds. So overall, the DPS here is gonna be a lot lower than it is when you're just using that worse basic attack in the beginning. Yeah, and then 4 seconds walking around. So that's basically what I mean with that stuff. Hopefully this shows it a little more. Not gonna be throwing in a ton of math in this one. Just showcasing really how strong it is to just keep the basic attack here, the Ignis Blast. And then you don't get that 4-second amnesia time when the pal does nothing. It just uses attack, attack, attack. Attack, and then attack again. Perfect. Well done, Foxparks. Good showcase here. So that's it for this video. It's around a 233% DPS buff, throwing in numbers anyway, despite saying I wasn't gonna. And it's moving up to like place 32 and 40 on the overall DPS chart, not including animation times and loop timings and stuff like that. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.